Right guys, you're back with me. Oh, there's a nice bit of wild garlic around here as well. And this time of year, the flowering. That's what the flowers look like, if you can see that well on camera. But you can eat all that as well. I just thought I'd walk down this bit of a path before I get on bike. So it being so fucking dark, I don't want to go in that river. See that there? That was sticking out. That's what I rammed into on the way through. Fuck me, to be honest, it fucking hurt that. Damn thing. At least it was one of my fine, it got me not in crotch. Yeah, no, it's a lovely part of the river, this. But like I said last time, we'll definitely do a couple of overnight hunts. In the summertime. To be honest, I'd do them from now onwards. But the only trouble is, with me not being in the best of health with my heart, in the morning, I'm fucked for a couple of hours until me tablets and that start working. And I don't want to sound a pussy or all, but when your breathing's affected, it does get a bit worrying, to be honest. That's one of the reasons I like the e-bike and the slingshot so much. So I can still do hunting without carrying a big heavy rifle around, and I can still get out and about places like this without having to walk. It's like, believe it or not, even like up this bit of an incline now, if I was walking, by the time I got halfway, I'd be feeling pretty gassed. Turn that torch off now. A bit of a weird do there when I turned camera off, just as after I'd packed up, because I thought I'll put a new battery in it because it was close to running out anyhow. So I put a new battery in, turned it back on, and it was saying no SD card. But it did have an SD card in it. I'm going to put that other torch back on, so you guys are not going to be able to see fuck all. There we go. But there was an SD card in it. Now you might think, oh, probably full. But when it's full, well, for one, it can't have been full because it was a blank card and it's a 64 gig one. But also, even if it was full, it says on the screen of the GoPro full, but it just said no SD card. So I'm just hoping something hasn't gone fucked up with a card and I've lost that Wild Brew video there. Hopefully I won't have, but you never know. You alright? Young lad, no lights on a fuck all. Crazy fucker. But yeah, I noticed in, I mean it doesn't bother me, but I noticed in comments, I don't know if I've mentioned it before on my video, but I'll mention it again. In the comments on some of my videos, people ask like, what's with a mask? Why do I wear a mask? You know, me face veil thing. And the reason is, because we're having a bad heart. My breathing's really heavy on camera. It sounds really heavy. But when I have the mask on, it really cuts a lot of the breathing noise down. And so that's why I wear the mask. I'm not trying to hide my identity or anything. There's a few videos that I've done where I haven't had the mask up. But I know people think it's a bit strange, and it probably is a bit strange. But I just absolutely hate the sound of the fucking heavy breathing. It's bad enough when I've got the mask on. But when I've got the mask off, fucking hell, it's a nightmare. And when I'm watching the video back, like editing and stuff, all I can fucking hear is me breathing. It sounds like Darth Vader's doing the fucking video. So that's the reason that I wear the mask. Well, I don't really like calling it a mask, really. I always just call it a face veil. You know what I mean? 'Cause it's just like one of them fucking... Like I say, it just only goes over me like mouth and nose. It's not like a balaclava or... But I mean, most people are sound about it. I've had one or two negative comments. But to be honest, I don't care about that, because I don't really want the negative people watching anyway. Like I say, I mean, there's a couple of reasons I have a YouTube channel. One, because to be honest, I've always wanted one. And then I just thought, fuck it, do it. And then the other is I have a little granddaughter, like 3.5, nearly 4 years old. And I just thought it's something good for, you know, her to look back on. I mean, hopefully I'll be around a long time. But, you know, we not being in the best of health, and I just thought it's a good thing, like I say, for her to look back on and see what Grandad was like. You know, because if like I end up dying, you know, before, I mean, you know, it's like when you're like 3 and 4, you can't really remember, can you? You know, I mean, I know I don't really have any memories from that age. God, I think like my youngest I can like remember back to was maybe, in all fairness, probably like 6 and 7 and stuff like that, really. If I do have any memories of younger, it's just very fucking little tiny snippets. So I didn't want her to, you know, just have to go by what people said I was like. You know, I wanted to be able to see what I was like. And so that's the main reason. Well, no, that's lying if I say the main reason. That's one of the big contributing factors to me wanting a YouTube channel. And also here and there, I think I might say odd bits and stuff that people either want to know, or a bit of information, or show people how to do something. I mean, as soon as I'm on better medication, it allow me to breathe a bit better. I wouldn't mind doing a few videos, doing a couple of chainsaw carvings, because that's what I used to do before that. Well, the reason I stopped it was because of the heart. You know, because as you can imagine, chainsaw carving is quite a physical job. Wielding the chainsaw about and moving heavy logs and stuff. And I'd persevered for as long as I could. But it was like getting to the point where, like when I was to go and, you know, getting the logs off the log supplier, I was scheduling it later and later into the day, just on hopes that by that time of day, my chest had cleared up a bit. And I didn't get as breathless. But in end, it didn't matter what time of day I'd go to a log dealer. You know, when I had to load them in car and stuff, it was just fucking, I mean, in it past and chuck them in trailer or in pickup and that, no bother. But it was getting to the stage where just lifting one log in was fucking me up. And so I'd ended up going to doctors, but I couldn't see my own original doctor because of this stupid doctor's appointment setups. And so I had an Asian doctor. Fine, no qualms with Asian doctors or anything. Sometimes I struggle to know what they're saying, but this one I could understand what he was saying and stuff. And he did the tests and all that sort of thing. Not loads of tests, but you know, like a few, like blood pressure and a bit of an ECG and stuff like that. And then he rung me, I think about 4 or 5 days later, saying, yeah, I'm alright, I don't have a problem with my heart and that, and my lungs seem alright. And I was like, fucking hell, nice one, just because I'm a fat cunt. Because at that time I was about 20 stone. Just under 20 stone, to be fair. And then about a fortnight after that, I got a call off my actual proper doctor I'd usually see. And he's like, I'm just concerned why you haven't, you know, come in to sort some medication and stuff out. And we could do with monitoring your blood pressure and that. And I was like, well, why? I'm all fine. And he's like, I don't know who's told you you're fine, but you're definitely not. He said, I'm looking at your records here. He said, that's why I've rung. He said, because to be honest, Mr. LeBron, he said, it looks like you've got heart disease. And then so I went for more tests and stuff like that, and then it turned out I did. But then, like I said to the doctor, I said, well, Mr. whoever it was, I said, he said that it was fine. He said, oh, I must have just misunderstood the records. It's like, fucking hell, I'm glad my doctor ended up ringing me. And so from finding out that, like I say, I had a bad heart, I managed to like lose a bit of weight and stuff. I went from 20 stone to, like now I'm just over 15 stone, still a bit too heavy, but a lot better than dragging 20 stone around. And like, I used to smoke a lot of weed. But I don't bother with that either anymore. That used to make my chest worse. I mean, like, I'd stopped actual smoking. Should I go that way or should I go back that way? I've got to turn that off first. Where should I go? Oh yeah, actually, we'll go back that way and go up Canal home. Yeah, we'll go the Canal way. Because that way is a bit of a shite way. Fucking all uphill and fucking that sort of shite. Not as nice a ride as this way, so we'll go back down here. Fuck it. I wanted a bit of a ride out anyhow. But yeah, so I'd stop the smoking weed as well. And that did my chest quite a good bit of good. What the fuck's that? Oh, it's a cat. What the fuck it was? On the prowl, see if it can get a rat or two or something. The odd mouse. I can't remember what I was saying now. Fucking hell. Oh yeah, like I said, so I'll stop smoking the weed. Made my chest a bit better, but also still getting breathless and stuff because it's started a heart problem, like I say. But stopping smoking the weed did improve me anxiety, you know, not getting my anxiety attacks like I used to. It's fucking hell, I used to be terrible. Even if the phone would ring, straight away I'd get like a feeling, it pit in my stomach, and oh fucking hell, it was terrible. You know, I'd wake up each morning and within the first like 5 or 10 minutes I'd end up feeling that feeling in my stomach, just like, you know, like worried, nervous feeling. It used to fucking drive me crazy. I mean, it still happens, but just nowhere near as much. We're not smoking the weed. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not bashing on weed or out, slagging it off or anything. I smoked weed for a lot of years, I had some fucking good old time smoking weed. But it just doesn't suit me anymore, and for a good few reasons, to be fair. But like I say, I'm not against weed or anything. I still think it's a lot better than fucking alcohol. But yeah, if anyone watching this does have trouble with mental health and anxiety and stuff, and you do smoke weed, if you can, I know it's hard because I found it hard to stop a long time ago, because I've stopped probably, this is probably the third time I've stopped, but this is for good this time. See, it's been a good while now since I smoked it, and like I say, when you can feel bad effects of it, it makes you not really want it anyway, to be honest. But if there's anyone out there with mental health problems and you do smoke weed, just if you can, it might not help, but if you can, just see if you can knock it on the head for a little bit, you know what I mean, and not just a day, you know what I mean, give it a week or something. But if you can, get yourself a bit of a hobby to sort of replace it, you know what I mean, get yourself a slingshot or something. And it really surprised me what a difference it made. Well, went off road there, guys. But yeah, like I said, it really surprised me what a difference it made. It might not do to anyone, like, but to everyone. But like I say, it definitely did to me. also, if you are having problems with your mental health, do you know what I mean, talk to people about it. Because it's surprising how many people do have the same sort of trouble as you're having. Do you know what I mean? Nowadays we live in quite a high pressure society. And so do talk to people about it. I mean, and to be honest, I was always against like antidepressant medication and stuff like that. But like I said, after I'd stopped the weed and stuff, my anxiety had stopped, but I was still, you know, having trouble. And so my doctor ended up putting me on an antidepressant called sertraline. And I know for some people, you know, like it probably don't work. But I do genuinely have to say, for me, it really did work. Not perfect. I could maybe do with maybe upping my dose a bit now. But it definitely did make a difference. But you've got to give it a good chance, because it does take a while to build up in your system. But I mean, obviously, I'll just turn around here so I can get up that slope, a bit of a run up. I mean, obviously, if you can live your life without having to have any substances, legal or illegal, all the better. But like with the antidepressants, I think it's better to be on them and be a bit happier than not be on them and be miserable and not be able to lead a proper life. I mean, because really, like, I think the trouble is, well, a couple of things really, but I think it's not named very well, your depression, calling it depression. Because even though you do feel depressed, there's a lot more to it than that. And people that don't understand mental health think, oh, you're just a bit sad, you know, pull yourself together and you'll be sorted. But they really don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Because you can't, no matter what, you just can't do it. I always find, might sound a bit cheesy, but you alright, lads? You alright? What's this unit doing? Okay. Just be in the middle of the road, why don't you? Yeah, there's an Oasis song. I think it's called The Importance of Being Idle. I'm almost sure that's what it's called. But there's a line in there, in that song, that I find sums up depression. And I'm not going to sing it, I'll say it. It says, I can't get a life because my heart's not in it. And that is exactly what it's like. Do Do you know what I mean? It just feels like you've no, well, it just feels like your heart's not in life. It just feels empty. And you can have money, family. Fucking hell, how many black cats were running in front of me? But like I say, you can have money, family, wife, everything you'd want. But if you've got that chemical imbalance, nothing makes it better. Well, nothing material makes it better, and no outside influence. It's got to come from you. And so guys, basically what I'm saying is, don't suffer in silence. And we're on now, so cheers guys, see you later.